Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for number 16 of my 31 days of Halloween makeup, I'm doing a cartoon Joker. I am linking my previous video in the description below, and you can also check out my other videos on my channel. But to get straight into this one, the first thing I did was I took the Too Faced glitter glue. And because I need my eyebrows to be really flat, since I am going to be painting over them and making new eyebrows basically. So I know a lot of people just use like Elmer's glue, but I didn't have some, and I don't know how I feel about putting children's glue on my face, so I used the Too Faced glitter glue. And then with my Wolf Hydro Color palette, these are water-based paints. So I just took the white, and I'm using an actual paintbrush to paint that onto my face. So it looks pretty streaky right now, but we're going to be doing a couple of layers so it will look better. So I just covered my entire face, my eyebrows. Once that dries, then we'll go ahead and do another layer. It does dry pretty quickly since it is water-based though. You will definitely get a couple of streak marks at first, but as soon as we put the other layers on, it'll start to go away. So like I was saying before, you guys, I am uploading a new video every single day in October, so make sure you are subscribed to my channel. That way you can get notifications when I upload. They are going to be at the same time every day, which is 9 a.m. As you can start to see, it is starting to get a lot whiter and some of those streak marks are starting to go away. But once I have completely painted my face, I took the Pro Face Gala Grease Makeup. This is just a white paint as well, but it's a lot thicker, and because you could still see my eyebrows, because that water-based paint is so thin, it's not going to cover them completely, so I use this grease paint to really cover them, and that way once we paint over them, you won't even be able to tell I have eyebrows. So once you're starting to look super crazy, you just want to put another layer on, especially on top of that grease paint, just with the same water-based paints that we were using before. And then with my Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Contour Palette, I just took the color black. I really like the black in this palette because I think it is so true to black, probably just because it's Kat Von D and it just fits her so well. But you don't really have to be too precise about this just because it's the Joker, it's kind of messy. So I went ahead just with a blending brush. This is a Morphe blending brush that I got from Ulta, and I'm going to go ahead, just cover my entire eyelid, go up to my eyebrow, not all the way, and then also under my eyes as well. So don't worry about getting anything in your lash line right now, especially like eyeshadow, just because we're going to go back with some eyeliner a little later and put that on the lash line just so they're completely blacked out. And now that you look like a psycho, you can go ahead and start making the lines. So I wanted to give those wrinkles that the Joker has on his forehead. So just with a really small, an actual paintbrush, I just dipped it in the black paint. Started making some lines on my forehead. You can even like push your forehead lines up so you can actually just follow your own. And then I also put some lines underneath my eyes. And then for the eyebrows, I wanted them to be super thin and have a really big arch. So with the same brush, I went ahead and just followed how I would normally do eyebrows like that. It's really weird watching me have eyebrows like this just because they're like the complete opposite, but it really fits the look. I feel like it brings it all together. Since I do have hair, obviously there, I had to make sure I blended all of that in with the black paint, just so that it didn't leave any patchy spots. And then I'm using the same paint pretty much for the whole thing. So that Wolf Hydro Color palette, I used all the colors from in there. The only thing was just that grease paint. And then because the lines were so dark, I took the brush that I used to paint my whole face and I just kind of blended in those lines a little more to almost make them look gray, just so that they weren't so dark. And then with a blending brush, if you want to I felt like it made it look kind of dirty to put it around my nose, forehead, a little bit on my cheeks as well with some of the black eyeshadow. I didn't dip it again, I just used whatever was already on the brush, almost to make it look gray rather than black. And then now I'm going to go in with some eyeliner and just put it on my lash line just so that they're completely blacked out. And now for the smile, which is the best part, we're going to go ahead and shape it out first. As you can tell, I mean, I kind of messed up a little bit at first, but it's really easy to paint over this, especially since they're water-based. So you just can make the lines how you'd like. It doesn't have to be as big as this. And then I'm going to actually be using 2 different colors on the outside. So I wanted it to be red, pink, and then the teeth are going to be yellow, but you'll see that in a little bit. So after I have the shape completely made out, I started with the red paint first. And just with a really small, again, I'm using actual paintbrushes that I got from like Joann's or something because it was really cheap for all of them. These are all really good, especially for doing makeup like this. And again, with the Hydro Color paints by Wolf, I just used the red and I first outlined that. And then for the inside, I'm going to take a pink, which again, in the same exact palette, all of these colors. I really love this palette because it has such a big variety of colors, although there's only 12 of them. But I went ahead, did the pink around the entire outside. I made sure not to go all the way up to my lips just because I'm going to do the teeth first. And then if I need to fill in any pink, I'll do it at that time. And now we can go ahead and get started on the teeth. So this actually tickles a lot. It was almost hard for me to do, but I went ahead, I took a really small paintbrush, and with the black paint, I just started making the teeth. The way I like to think about it is they're almost like little houses. So that's how I did the teeth. I filled in my lips just a little bit, makes it look more realistic, even though it's a cartoon. And then you want to go ahead and just bring it all the way back to where the smile ends. When you're doing the bottom teeth, you want to make sure that they line up with the top ones unless you're wanting to make it look like you have crooked teeth. So that's exactly what I did, and then just made basically more little houses on the bottom. And then I took the yellow paint and I went ahead and filled in each of the teeth. So this is really bright, and we are going to fix that a little bit later with some black paint. But just with another small paintbrush, I went ahead and filled in each of the teeth. Don't worry if it's too messy at first, because you can go back with another black paintbrush and kind of fill in those parts. Just whatever was left over of the pink paint, I went ahead and filled that in, and then I'm just cleaning up around with some black paint on where the yellow kind of faded it out. And then because I felt like it was a little too small with the red. I wanted to bring it up more, so I just made another black line and then filled it over with the red paint, which is really easy because it's darker. And now I'm just making some really small black lines on each of the teeth. I love this, especially for when you're doing like any type of skeleton. It really gives it that cartoony look. So just making really small lines on each of the teeth will make a huge difference. And because I wanted him to have his creepy little grin, I made some triangles on the outside and then just put some black eyeshadow inside of it. It kind of gives it a shadow. And then just brought it down the side of the mouth. Now the iconic Joker has his green hair, so I'm using the same exact paint, which as you can tell works really good, especially because I have really dark hair. So I just dipped the brush in the water in the green paint, and then I just very briefly painted the tips of my hair. It's also really easy to come off, especially when you take a shower and they're water-based. They just melt off, which makes it so much easier. And not even just that, my whole entire face. I feel like that's the worst part of doing this kind of makeup, is having to take it off. So when you use water-based paints like this, it makes it a lot easier. But after I'm done with that, that completes the look. I really, really love this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel so you get notified at the times that I upload my videos every single day, and that way you guys can follow all of them. But thank you guys so much for your support. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow.